Guitar tips, just the tips, just for you. Guitar tips. Hello and welcome to Guitar Tips. My name is Adam Levy. This is my weekly video blog series. I post a new tip here each and every Friday. You don't have to watch them on Fridays. You can watch them whenever you like. That is the magic of the internet. If you're wondering what is the magic of the internet, that's it right there. You can watch Guitar Tips anytime you like, any day you like, whenever you like. This is episode number 63. Before we get into tips, I want to mention our sponsor. This episode of Guitar Tips is sponsored by Martin Guitar Strings, as in the strings I have right here on this guitar. Excuse me. The set that I use is called Retro. It's, if you look, you may notice they're not bronzy looking. They're more silver or nickel looking. And so they're pretty different. They don't sound like other guitar strings that you may put on your acoustic guitar. They kind of look like electric guitar strings, but they are not. They're formulated specifically for acoustic guitar, and they sound great, and I don't know what they're made of. The package, they call this formulation Monel. I did not do well in metallurgy class in school, so I don't know what goes into Monel, but it feels good when you play it. Sounds good. Strings last a good long time, and those are really the things that I care about in strings. They sound good, they feel good, and they last. And these do. So thank you, Martin Strings. Okay, guitar tip number 63 is 6 jazz chords are all you need. 6 jazz chords are all you need. So if you don't like jazz, maybe you'll be relieved to know that you just only have to learn 6 chords and then you're done. And if you do like jazz, maybe you'll be relieved because you thought you had to learn 10,000 chords. And in this tip, we're going to look at 6 chord shapes on the guitar that will get you through pretty much any jazz situation you may find yourself in. They are sometimes, these shapes are sometimes referred to as shell voicings. When I was in school, the teacher that I had called them kernel chords. Kernel, not as in like KFC kernel, but like popcorn kernel. So what they are, right, you can call them whatever you want, shells or kernels, but what they are is root 3 and 7, and that's it. There's no 5, there's no extensions, there's no 9s, 11s, 13s, and so on. Just 3 notes, and that's why you'll see how we come up with 6 chords out of that. So let's start with the first shape. It's going to have the root on the 6th string, and we're not going to use the 5th string for this. We're going to skip it and go to the 4th string and then the 3rd string. So this is G major 7. G, F sharp, that's the 7th, and B is the 3rd. And you might think, well, you said we were going to do root 3, 7, but you're playing root 7, 3. Why is that? Well, down here, this low, it's not wrong, but it's a little bit muddy. It'd be less muddy if I tuned my guitar a little better, but hopefully you can at least hear what that is. Okay? So that's a lot more useful in most musical situations. So that's your major 7 voicing. And then we have another one up here with the root on the 5th string. So again, I've got G here. And now we do play root 3, 7. So that's G, B, F sharp. So we've got this one, and we've got this one. So from there, those are our 2 options. Now, you might have a dominant 7th chord you need to play. So all you do is take that F sharp and move it down to F natural. natural. That's the flatted 7th. So that's G7, and we do the same thing up here. We start with G major 7, and we move the F sharp back to F. We have G7. So, and then if you have minor 7, same idea. You can do it with 3 individual fingers, or you can do it as a bar, whatever you like. But we're not. If you do it as a bar, don't hit these strings. We're just going to deal with strings 6, 4, and 3. So that's G minor 7, and then up here, again, we started with major 7. If you flat the 7 and flat the 3, that's the formula for minor 7. It's got a lowered 7 and a lowered 3. And just a little bit of music theory, if this is all new to you or strange to you. When I say we lower the 3rd, what I mean is relative to what it would be in a major scale version of whatever root we're talking about. So if we're talking about G, right, the 7 would be F sharp, because in a G major scale, that's the 7th note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And B is the 3rd note. 1, 2, 3. So that would be our sort of normal. But to make it minor, we would flat the 3rd. And in a dominant chord, we flat the 7th. And in a minor 7 chord, we flat the 7th. So again, the 3 shapes are major 7. Hope you can see these all right. Major 7, dominant 7, minor 7, major 7, dominant 7, minor 7. You can use whatever fingers you want. Okay? Excuse me, I'm just getting over something. The phlegm fatale, that's what I'm getting over. So, okay, now we've got these 6 chords. So before you go any further, you'd want to memorize these in all 12 keys. So one way to do that is to go back a couple of episodes here where I talked about practicing in circles, and you could take this shape and play it around the circle of 4ths, not 5ths, 4ths. So that would, if we start on G, that would be G major 7, C major 7, F major 7, B flat major 7, E flat major 7, A flat, D flat, or C sharp, F sharp, B, E, A, D, G. Okay, and you would do that with all 3 chord types with the root on 6th string, and then you do the same thing here. G major 7, C major 7, F major 7, and then you would go around and then you do G7, C7, F7, and then G minor 7, C minor 7, F minor 7. And then once you got pretty good at both sets, both 6th string root and 5th string root, you could alternate them. You could do C minor 7, F minor 7, B flat minor 7, E flat minor 7. You see what I'm doing? So I'm alternating root systems here. 6th string root, 5th string root, 6th string root, 5th string root. And you could do it with all these chord types. So here's C major 7, F major 7, B flat major 7, E flat major 7, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, So that's a cool thing to actually see how they link up in pairs, because a lot of jazz tunes tend to move that way, like All the Things You Are moves that way. The chord types change, but you could play. Okay, so that's ultimately what you want to be able to do, so you're not moving around quite as much. So these are great chords for comping. Comping is a jazz term. It just means accompanying. It's easier to say comping. That's all it means, is accompanying somebody. So if you're playing behind a horn player or a singer or another guitar player or whatever, these chords are great because let's say you're playing G7 here. Yeah, sure, it's fun to play, a big voicing with a lot of extensions in it or whatever, but you don't always know what the other person's going to do, and it's easy to wind up in a situation where you're clashing with them by you choose a natural 9, they play a flat 9, or you play a flat 5 and they play a natural 5, whatever. With these chords, doesn't matter. If it's G7, they could play a flat 5 or a sharp 5 or a flat 9 or a sharp 9 or 13 or a flat 13 or any combination of those, and it really doesn't matter. In shell voicing world or kernel chord world, G7 is G7. It's an equal opportunity voicing. So that's pretty cool. Another thing that's great about these voicings is that if you want to start getting into chord melody playing, that's where you play the chords and the melody at the same time, like the guitar is almost like a piano, or you're doing the whole shebang right here on the guitar. You could use these chord shapes as your kind of basis for the chord, and then play melody on top. So I recently was working on this with one of my students. We were playing Blue in Green, which is a Miles Davis tune, and the melody goes like this. And if you look in the real book, the chords are G minor 7, so we could play this one up here. We're not going to choose that one down there because then there's really no way to get this note. No, you can't. So we choose this one. And then A7 with C on top. So here's our A7 kernel chord. Of course, you could also grab it here. That's fine. Either way. And then this is a D minor chord. The real book says D minor 7, but I like this as a D minor 6. So we haven't really talked about that, but it's easy enough to do using the same idea. D minor 7, we just move the 7 back to 6 and we've got it. So, and then the melody note is A. So you could do that here, or if you prefer D minor 7, that's fine. You could also do it down here if we play D minor 7 with A, or D minor 6 with A. And then D flat 7, this G melody note passes through D flat 7, flat 5. No problem. Here's D flat 7, and here's the flat 5, which is the melody. You could also do it down here. I'm making a bar, so I'm getting the F and the G with this bar, and so I'm playing D flat, F, C flat, and G. I guess technically that G is A double flat, because it's the flat 5 of D flat, but just call it G. And then the next chord is C minor 7 with F on top, so we could get that here or here. Whatever you like. Slightly different. And then this is F7 with B on top. You could get that up here. So again, that's the F7 shape, and that's the melody note, or F7 shape with melody note. And then the next chord is B flat major 7. So it's easy to get that right here. And the melody note is E. Again, I opted for D minor 6, but the book says D minor 7. Either way is fine. G on top. Whatever you like. This is E7 with C on top, so you could get that here or here. Okay. And so on. Of course, there's lots of other ways that you could voice those chords. I mean, E7 with C on top. Here's a neat voicing. Has nothing to do with shells or kernels, but in a way it kind of does. I'm playing low E, and then the 3rd and the 7th, right? So it's that. And and then on top I'm playing the C triad, just a little C triad, but gives you lots of color there if you want it. But these kernel chords or shell voicings actually are just a lot easier to grab and sound really great. There's A minor 7 with B on top, so we could grab that here. Let's try to do it so it's visually easy to see. A minor 7, or you could grab it up here. So, so the point is that you could use all of these chords to be the basis of, a solo jazz guitar arrangement, or you could use them to accompany other people. And it's just also a really good way to just visualize chords on the fingerboard, because almost any chord you need to get to, at least in a jazz context, could be seen as being related to one of the two orientations, either root on the 6th string or root on the 5th string. You don't always have to play the root in a real jazz situation, real playing situation, but at least it'll help you visualize it. I mean, you could also practice these without the roots. C major, G major 7, C major 7, F major 7, B flat major 7, E flat major 7, A flat major 7, D flat. I'm visualizing the root. I'm just not playing it. So that's D flat, G flat. Again, the root's here. I'm just not playing it. So now I'm just playing the 3rds and 7ths. That can be valuable too. But I think it would be easier to see that on the neck once you had gone through this and spent some time, a week or 2 or 3 or 6 or whatever it takes to get these 6 primary chords under your fingers. So, guitar tip, 6 chords are all you need in jazz. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks again to Martin Strings for sponsoring this episode. And thanks to you for subscribing. Please do. I hope that you will. I'm Adam Levy. This is Guitar Tips. Stay tuned and take good care.